Hello and welcome, Xbox Nation, to a very special edition of the Xbox Factor podcast. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, folks. Normally on Wednesdays, you get primetime gaming at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, yes, you are getting that show with a host of guests. And we're all going to be actually responding to and discussing opening night live, what happened with the PlayStation 5 announcement for Indiana Jones. But we're also going to be talking about what's going on currently at Gamescom. And there was an interview today with Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond. Charlie Hudson is the one that did the interview. Of course, she's fantastic and she always does a great job. Phil was very candid. Phil explained exactly what the business is going to look like for Xbox. And listen, if you're a traditionalist, I got news for you. Like I've been saying for a while, get ready because it does appear that there are big changes happening for Xbox. A lot of changes that a lot of people are not going to like. Now, I've said this before, and I will continue to say it. Like Macho Man Randy Savage, you might not like it, but you got to accept it. You remember that? Well, that's unfortunately what is happening here. We're going to play that 1 minute and 30-second interview where he breaks down the announcement of the PlayStation 5 version of Indiana Jones. I want to thank Pong Soul for sharing that, but I also want to thank Shinobi602 who actually posted it. So thank you, gentlemen, for obviously sending it to me and, more importantly, posting it so we can have something to discuss because it really does go with the context. Now, of course, I'm not here by myself. I'm here and I'm co-hosting with one of the best in the business. And folks, I'm here to tell you his latest video that he put out detailing his high octane opinions of what happened yesterday. And of course, is King David. And you need to check it out. It is closing in, if not already surpassed 10,000 views. And you know something? It was so damn good, so damn pointed that I've watched it twice. I'm going to watch it a third time because I want to support my brother. But I also had to have King on here today because we both have a lot to say. King David, my brother from another, welcome.
What's up, Boom? Yeah, you and I talked earlier today, and my DMs was kind of crazy. I spoke to Phil. Well, text Phil. We spoke back and forth or whatever about a couple of things, and yeah, we got a lot to discuss today. We got a lot to discuss today. We got a lot to discuss.
Yeah, we're actually going to get into it. So listen, we're going to wait for people to kind of pile in here. We're already at 300 people watching live. A big thank you to everyone that has tuned in for this very special edition of the Xbox Factor podcast. The show is going to run maybe about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe a pinch more, pinch less. But King and I are the only ones that are going to be here because we talked on the phone and we were having such a grand conversation this morning that I thought it would be almost egregious not to share this with the community because obviously, listen, it's big news. It's not the biggest news that we wanted. I do want to share that Charlie Hudson interview, and I will share that momentarily when we get into it. I just want a few things to be clear here, okay? King and I are grown men with wives and godchildren, of course, his children. We're not crying about games going to PlayStation. This is the world that we're living in. Do we like it? The answer is no. But of course, this is not the early 2000s. If I were running Xbox right now, I'd be running it like Pete Moore. Peter Moore ran it with an iron fist, and I would make you, PlayStation gamers out there, buy an Xbox. I would force you to because the games would be so good and the services would be so unbelievable that even PlayStation purists would not be able to deny it. But that's not the world we're living in. We're living in a world where cost has gone up everywhere. And unfortunately, things are going to start changing in the industry. Sony is going to be here. Whether it's next year or the following year, they will be putting their first-party games and their bangers on PlayStation, on PC, and of course on Xbox, because they want to make money as well. They're going to look and they're going to see how much money is coming in from Indiana Jones and from Sea of Thieves and all the other games that are there currently. You're going to see they're going to want a piece of that pie. So it's happening. It's just not happening right now. And so, of course, Xbox looks like the bad guy. Now, here's the thing, folks, and I want this to be clear. The issue at hand and why we're even talking, King and I, isn't because that PlayStation is getting Indiana Jones. That's not the issue, folks. The issue is how it was announced. Bad optics, bad messaging, bad marketing seems to be not one but two Achilles heels for Xbox. Like King said when he was doing this live with Attic yesterday, this literally did nothing for the Xbox brand. And the last time I checked, what was sold to me as an Xbox gamer is that Gamescom was going to be for Xbox gamers, not PlayStation gamers. The messaging yesterday was poor. It was poorly done. That is leadership's fault. That is Phil Spencer's fault. That's everyone that's involved. There was no rhyme or reason why they had to announce the PlayStation version on stage with Jeff Keighley, who, which, by the way, was very, very happy to do that.
Gleeful.
Will. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow, don't forget, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to break down exactly why you saw this be one of the Jeff's most exciting announcements, but how he continues to downplay or anything Xbox.
I highly suggest that the clip that Boom is about to say that it's about to show you, you pay attention.
Yes.
Visually and audibly.
Yes.
Try to comprehend the words, and I'm going to break down it for those that don't comprehend certain things. I'm going to break down the conversation that he's having so you can understand certain things. And it's very poignant in listening to how he words things, because it's cold in certain stuff. And I know you guys is like, you're probably reading too much into it. Trust and believe, it's cold in the words, because what you want to do is show your defiance, but don't show insubordinateness. All
yes,
right.
Great point.
So
Great point.
It's you're strong in your stance, but you're not unruly, right? Because when it comes to pointing it out, you can always deflect and gaslight and say, I didn't say that. That's your opinion of it, but what I said was what I said. If you're smart enough to read between the lines, you will understand what is said and what could be used and what can't be used when it comes to certain talks. But we'll talk about that in a second. And Boom is spot on with my assessment as far as, I don't care if games go to PlayStation. If y'all gonna pay $70, God bless, knock yourself out.
Yep.
I get it inside Game Pass. That's not the issue. The issue is the point of delivery, the weird sense of showing of power. And this next video he's going to show you illustrates my point, because it's something there, and I'm going to point it out to you because I know everybody missed it. I'm going to point it out to you, and you're going to say, yep, you was right, because they are doing this strategically on purpose, and it's internal, and it's at the detriment of the individual that you put there as your face. And that is the biggest issue, because you don't see that from any other company. You don't see that from Sony. You don't see that from Nintendo. When those people were there in position, they didn't undermine them. They always gave that level of support. What I see now, the power struggle is about attention. And you're going to see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know what? There's 500 people here. A big thank you for everyone that's tuning in live. Obviously, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and of course, share this out on social media. Let people know that King and I are going to be live for the next 30 or 45 minutes to kind of break down everything. Let me actually queue up. Let me pause this footage and let me do a screen share so we can actually see exactly what I am talking about, because obviously it's a minute and 30 seconds. It's actually really well. It's everything that we needed to hear and see, and it does explain a lot. So let me just share that right now. Let me get on here and bring that up there and replay
Going
it.
to the PlayStation announcement, obviously last spring, we launched 4 games, 2 of them on the Switch, 4 of them on PlayStation, and we said we're going to learn. We said we'd watch. I think at Showcase, I might have said from our learning, we're going to do more. What I see when I look is our franchises are getting stronger. Our Xbox console players are as high this year as they've ever been.
Amazing.
So I look at it and I say, okay, our player numbers are going up for the console platform. Our franchises are as strong as they've ever been. And we run a business. Like, it's definitely true inside of Microsoft. The bar is high for us in terms of the delivery that we have to give back to the company, because we get a level of support from the company that's just amazing in what we're able to go do. So I look at this, how can we make our games as strong as possible? Our platform continues to grow, both on console, on PC, and on cloud. And I think it's just going to be a strategy that works for us. And the last thing I'll probably say is, I think as an industry right now, there's a lot of pressure on the industry. It's been growing for a long time, and now people are looking for ways to grow. And I think that us as fans, as players of games, we just have to anticipate there's going to be more change in how some of the traditional ways that games were built and distributed. That's going to change. That's going to change for all of us. But the end result has to be better games that more people can play. If we're not focused on that, I think we're focused on the wrong things. So for us as Xbox, health of Xbox, health of our platform, and our growing games, most important things.
Oh, that sounds perfect.
King, I'm going to hand the mic over to you, brother. There it is. There's the breakdown. Listen to the words.
Okay.
He is telegraphing what Xbox is going to look like and how games are going to be distributed.
Okay.
Please, go ahead. Take it away.
First and foremost, he's there representing Microsoft Gaming.
Yes.
All right. So if you looked and you said Phil Spencer, Microsoft Gaming. Sarah is there representing, they didn't show Sarah, but Sarah is there representing Xbox. Okay. Now, later on, I'm going to do a video detailing her part and her role in a lot of this stuff. But you heard him say that the industry has a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on the industry. That means there's a lot of pressure on me. All right. If you're listening, industry pressure has nothing to do with anything. So the only way that you can internalize pressure is by it being forced upon you. So, i.e., there's a lot of pressure on me. There is a need to return on investment because, like he said, they've been very good to them financially. So the trial took a long time. And they thought the trial was going to be short. The trial took way longer than it's supposed to. A year and some change more than it was supposed to. And given the timeline that they had built up for it, they expected it to be done before then. When a creditor tells you your bill is due at a certain date, they don't care what happens in between that date to push back your ability to pay back. They just expect their money at that date. And that date has come already. So the assessments in how you're going to deliver, how you're going to change, well, we have to be the first ones to change because we got the biggest bill. Sony doesn't have a bill that they, PlayStation doesn't have a bill that they have to pay back Sony, right? Xbox has a bill that they have to pay back Microsoft. It's $100 billion bill. And they're just starting to see some return on that investment. But he's also explaining to you how the level of engagement in the Xbox ecosystem, which be it Game Pass, be it cloud, be it anywhere that you're able to access it, excuse me, also those games that are accessible because you do log in through your Microsoft stuff on the PlayStation, they do get those metrics. They have seen a larger part of growth. He's also explained to you that I did say that, we were going to see a metrics of it. The metrics came back and the metrics is positive, right? What they saw was that they are selling more on a competitor's hardware than the competitor himself. And that is promising. So the goal is to continue to do so. Now, that's nothing wrong with that process because he also told you it is a business. He said, sorry to break the news to you. And these are words that are regurgitated to him that is drone in his head. This is a business. This is a business. And that's why he had to reiterate it to you. Now, fundamentally, their position is Xbox is strong. What they mean is their IPs are strong. Their gaming divisions have never been this robust. If you listen to them more in that whole segment, because there's a larger part to that segment, they talk about the level of amount of games, and they have so much games. When you have overabundance, you have to figure out how this stuff is going to be sold, distributed, and marketed. My problem with yesterday's show, and mind you, it was a piss poor show, an absolute piss poor show. And for some reason, and I just, oh no, it's Alex. Yo, you spot on. Jeff continues to make shows that are worse than his last show. I don't know how he keeps doing it, and you're spot on. I don't know. He reaches a new low every time, and it's incredible to see. But he's running the show, and I'm not saying it because of Indiana Jones. I want you guys to understand. I don't care about that. It's coming in Game Pass. I don't care about that.
Right.
What I care about is Xbox didn't have a month for it to breathe. You know what that, and we got one more thing was supposed to be? The DLC for Indiana Jones is announced. And this is the package bundle, and this is this, and this is that. It served zero purpose for you to announce a PlayStation version before you announce your DLC, which one, you have to find your DLC on a page in the corner. I detailed it.
Yep.
Which is disrespectful, all right, within itself. Since when do you announce the core game but don't announce the bundle package that goes with it? Ubisoft understands how to do that. Ubisoft has done that. I showed you that with Star Wars Outlaws.
Yes.
I showed you it is egregious in the price, but I also showed you how you're supposed to market something that you believe in. This was an overt show of power. This is explaining to the people that you send out there who's in absolute control of the show, who's running this, and at the detriment of the individuals that you send out there that are supposed to be credible to the fan base that you want to sell to. Now, I hear a lot of people saying that Xbox doesn't care about hardware. I don't think the thought of caring about hardware focuses in on Satya's thought process. You have to understand where his mind lies. His mind lies in AI and the cloud. And if he can see significant growth there, that's why you see a lot of cloud deals being done, the NVIDIA thing being done, that you're able to log in and that's it. You don't have to keep going back and forth. They want to make the ease of use seamless. And that's their main priority, getting the usage of the cloud done. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, King, you're saying that they don't care about the hardware. I'm saying he doesn't. There's still people there that care about the hardware, i.e. they're still making hardware because they still need that mobile front in order to get these games to you. They still need a conduit because that will be the largest part of their revenue coming from their device and their
own platform. Correct. 100%. Right. Yes.
So if you're expecting them to give up that 30% when they can make it in their storefront, yeah, they're going to do it until hardware is no longer necessary. Would he love to push the timeline up where hardware isn't no longer necessary? I absolutely believe so. I absolutely believe that, being that I don't believe that he's a gamer at all, he doesn't perceive the latency that we perceive when we're playing a game over cloud. He doesn't perceive the downgrade in resolution when he's playing over cloud the way Phil would. You see, you can go at any time and look and see exactly what he's playing. He's playing Diablo right now. That's the game that he's fixated with. That's the game he's putting the most time in. Before it was Destiny with us and all that other stuff, but now it's Diablo. And you can tell that he games.
Yeah.
Somebody that doesn't care about, and a lot of you guys can understand about indifference. I tell it to my son all the time. When you're talking to somebody and you have no interest in their conversation, well, what they're loving, you have to show interest. You have to, listen. Somebody that's indifferent to your passion, you will see that indifference show up in every area, and that's disinterest. If he's in control and he's disinterested in your passion, that passion will show lacking. The passion is the hardware. Whereas a lot of people are hype about the hardware. He doesn't know that stuff go hands in hands with us, with Phil. Sarah is in charge of that, and Matt is in charge of the games. That's supposed to be a holy trinity, and it's supposed to link. If one of those pieces break, it cannot stand. And I think he's trying to break one of the pieces on purpose to show his thought process in achieving those billions that they want is superior to their thought process, because the metrics show for 20 years they've been trying to do it one way. And it hasn't achieved that. And it only achieved that way when they came together as an understanding, and that money was given, the money that they're looking to get back. I don't like how it was done. You could have marketed it better. You could have put that DLC there, and after the game came out in January, since you're saying it's coming out in spring,
Yep.
let PlayStation announce it, or let yourself announce it. Take ownership of it.
Yes.
You take ownership. Don't let Jeff do it. You take ownership of it. And next month, on this day, Indiana Jones is coming out to the PlayStation 5 platform with the pricing that is this, that, and the third, and you walk off stage. You gave respect to your core fan base, where you let them rival in the day of release up until the day of release and play the DLC or whatever. And then once your sales are in, and if you sell a couple of consoles, because see, think about this. The PlayStation person is sitting there saying, y'all really like Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Indiana Jones. I'm going to have to buy a Series S. That guy said, I don't have to.
Nope.
I can wait now. So that means that you don't prioritize hardware. And it's not them guys, it's him. Look at what is being presented to you and understand where to lay the blame. A lot of people thought I was saying, and I knew you didn't watch the video, if you thought I said Phil lied. You didn't lie.
Nope. He did not.
Starfield and Indiana Jones wasn't part of that 4. The 4 that went was the 4 that went. Now, it's always going to be open speculation now. Everything is open season now. Do I believe the whole slate is going? No, I don't believe that. But at the same time, I had the information. And then dudes are saying, nah, King, you said it was going to be Flight Simulator. Bro, when I tell you this, and I'm telling you this, they have a whole list of what should go, what they're thinking about going, and what might be there. If Flight Simulator ain't there, I'm dying. Trust, they could have said a whole bunch of other stuff. I only watched today to watch the Forza 5 Horizon stuff because I know that part. And if they would have said it there, that would have been something crazy. Now, I would go with Forza Horizon 4 because you delisted it. Yeah, of course, put it over there. But again, that's the console fanboy in me. The businessman in me understands you're going to make that bread. That's what it's going to be. So everybody gets caught up on because it's on Game Pass, you're not going to make any money. Stupid. That doesn't mean it can't be sold. It will be sold.
Yep.
You can buy it. I play games and then I buy them. If I don't like them, I don't buy them. But I'm paying for my subscription. So you can see how it's a win-win for both. That's how it happens. And majority of the Xbox players do not have Game Pass because they do a piss poor job at describing it to the players and describing it to the fan base. I just felt that wasn't the place to do it. He wasn't the person to do it, and you could have did it better.
Yes.
And I didn't like the fact that this guy has broken his back over a large portion. He's been doing it for a long time until he went and got Mad Booty, until they got Sarah Bond by himself. And now that you got a team together, you undermined him. When you needed him, when you first got there, you gave him carte blanche. Phil wasn't getting that $10 billion before to go buy ZeniMax. No, he had to work with Halo, Gears, and Forza for years.
Yep, he sure did.
So the fact that he made it relevant with those, and then they went out and got Compulsion. They went out and got this. And then he said, yo, I got Ninja Theory. Look at what we can do. Okay, this is the plan. This is the Game Pass. We could do this. We could do that. When you needed him, when you first got in because you wanted to align yourself with the strongest person in the building, it was cool. You get Amy, you get Scott, you feel that you got your own big three. Then you start to look at them like they're getting all the accolades, but I signed the checks and I think I should have the attention. That's what it reeks of to me.
Yeah, it does.
And I'm on a team, there should never be any jealousy. And that's unrealistic, right? Because this is the corporate nature of it, right? The corporate nature is a dirty, disgusting game of cat and mouse with politics here and politics there. I'm going to delve deeper into that aspect of it later on my video, but I'm just giving you a crux of the frustration in dealing with individuals with corporal speak, but sending out somebody else to have that corporal speak instead of you yourself having that corporal speak. And that's what they sign up for. They get the big bucks to do this. And in doing so, you just kind of neutered the situation and made it impotent to the point where every word out of his mouth is going to be questioned. And you can't have that in leadership because that forms a sense of weakness. And if you see a sense of weakness, I'm from the hood. If we sense weakness, we're going to devour you. And that's exactly what it's going to be. So his position globally, talking to all his partners, has been hampered because of your stance and wanting to show some form of strength. And anybody that's watching that understands he was undermined.
Yeah,
and that
indeed,
kind
he
of
was.
sucks.
Yeah, it does suck because listen, we've all said this before. If there's no Phil Spencer, there's no Xbox.
No,
that is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. That's not a suggestion. That's not me rah-rahing the guy in the seat. That actually happened. He saved Xbox, and he is a gamer. He is us, except he's making a hell of a lot more money than both King and I put together. And he's doing it, right? So here's a little piece of background information. I see a lot of people in the chat. I'm going to get to the super chats. There's been a lot of them. Thank you so much for the support of the channel. Thank you. Almost 850 people here. That is freaking amazing. Thank you for watching, of course, on YouTube and X as well. You know, if you're watching on Twitter, welcome. Hopefully you'll find the channel and you consider subscribing. But here's a piece of information. Now, King and I were under NDA, and we couldn't talk about something that we attended last week. And I'm not going to go into specifics. What I can say is that Bethesda invited King and myself and several others. We were in the room with some heavies. ACG was there. Ryan McCaffrey from IGN was there. Paris Lilly and a bunch of other journalists were there. Jez Corden was there. We were there. And that's a really big deal for us because who are we? Well, to you folks, we're content creators that you support and that you like, and we appreciate that. But to the gaming journalists, I guarantee you there was conversation. Why are they there? They're just YouTubers. But we were in the room. And you know what we got a chance to see? One of my most anticipated games of 2024. And more importantly, we got 10 more minutes on the back end than you saw at Gamescom. And unfortunately, I tried my damnedest to get that video, but unfortunately, all I got was some stills. And I didn't even put it out there. Not because I was embarrassed about it. Listen, I was in the room. I actually got a chance to ask questions to two of the main developers there, and they picked my question to answer live on the air. You'll never know about it because I can't show it. I don't have video footage of it because we weren't allowed to record. And well, again, we were in the room. That's all that matters to me. So the whole point of this is, folks, if you are an Indiana Jones fan, if you are a Machines game fan, if you are someone that always wanted to experience a real to life Indiana Jones game, don't let the PlayStation 5 announcement spoil your excitement. I'm here to tell you, my God, it looks so good. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And look, this is coming from a big old nerd who, when I was 11, went to City Cinema in Co-op City in the Bronx to see this with my pops. It's a moment that A, will make me cry, and B, give me goosebumps. I sat next to my dad, 11 years old, watching this movie, and every time I think about Raiders of the Lost Ark and I see this game, I'm telling you, folks, you should be excited about it. Now, look, I have a double-sided coin of embarrassment for both Phil Spencer and Xbox and for these PlayStation dudes that, if I recall correctly, King, said they couldn't play this game because they were going to get motion sickness. That was the running narrative. I can name names and I got the tweets, but I'm a gentleman, so I won't. But you know who I'm talking about, right? So here's the Xbox embarrassment side of the coin. This showcase, I'm talking about Gamescom, right? So I know some people in the chat, oh, you can't blame Jeff for this. I don't blame Jeff for anything other than being a troll.
Yeah.
His behavior at his own show and his distaste for Xbox showed more yesterday than ever before, especially during the Genshin Impact announcement. That's an Xbox announcement. And he was like, hey, Genshin Impact. Oh, it's on Xbox. He did it so nonchalantly, you can tell he was grunting his teeth to say that. That's a big announcement, and he poo-pooed it. And of course, his elation, his excitement as a fanboy, he couldn't wait to tell you about PlayStation 5 getting Indiana Jones. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. But you see, that's the embarrassment. The embarrassment is that this has been sold to us for months as Xbox's biggest booth, Xbox's biggest announcement, a show that was expected to be as big as June Showcase. This was supposed to be for Xbox players, not PlayStation players. And I know that may sound childish or pointed, but this show was supposed to be for Xbox gamers. Like King said, this announcement did not have to happen at Gamescom. Let your fan base enjoy this exclusive, even if it's a timed exclusive, whether that is from Satya, Phil Spencer, or Disney. I don't care. You didn't have to announce it then. There are plenty of time, at least 6 months between now and the spring, maybe even more. Maybe it's 7 or 8 months. You had plenty of time to do it. That's the one side embarrassment. Here is the PlayStation side embarrassment. The knuckleheads, King David, that are running around with their victory flags and they're taking their victory laps. You should be ashamed of yourself because you're a fraud, because you said you weren't going to play this game because you were going to get motion sickness, right? If I remember. But here's the other thing. Where the rubber hits the road with this conversation is these PlayStation players that are going to go out in droves to buy this game are funding the next Machine Games title. Thank you, PlayStation players. Thank you. Because you're going to be paying $76.43 here in the States for every one person that buys this game. And we know it's going to fly off shelves. And you know something? Thank you, PlayStation gamers, because you just paid for either the next acquisition or the next game from Machine Games. Congratulations, you guys won. Right? So that's the double-sided coin of embarrassment. Look, if you saw me on Mav's show during the Gamescom thing, I was a bit out of sorts. I don't apologize for it, because when I got done with my own show, I felt like my life has been sucked away from me. There was such distaste in the chat that you folks, you don't understand. I take this shit super serious. Like I mean, like, putting on a quality show is so important to me that there'll be nights that I'm up to 2:00 in the morning writing to make sure that I get it right. Not for me, not to toot my own horn. I don't give a shit. I'm here for you, just like you are here for me. So I have to deliver. And obviously, I was so spent yesterday that you saw I was a bit deflated, because my chat's usually super positive, and I enjoy being positive. And today, yeah, we're being a little negative, because Xbox has earned this, King David. They have earned the criticism. Every time Xbox is, look, I said this to you privately. It wasn't anything secret, so I'll say it publicly, King. Xbox was on cruise control from June forward.
Yep.
All they had to do is sit in the seat and sip their lattes all the way until December 31st, and they get the big W. But what do? They do a very poor messaging and very poor job messaging, as they always do. And here we are. We're having these conversations. Is Xbox dead, folks? The answer is absolutely not. They're making more money now than ever. But does that take away from the fact, King, that there are gamers who have every right to feel this way, they consider themselves second-class citizens? I'm not going to fight you if you feel that way. If you feel that way, you have every right to express it. Here's where I kind of got to push back on you. I see people, I'm trading in my Series X. You know what? If you have a strong enough PC, you should. You should be gaming on your PC. Now, whose problem is that? Well, that's Xbox's just dumb marketing problems. No Xbox, no problem. I hear you. But obviously, you still want to sell consoles. At least I think they do. So if you're going to sell, no, he just wants to say the software. They're a software company. That's what they're going to do. I don't like it. King doesn't like it. You don't like it. We hear you. I'm not fighting you on it. But the truth of the matter is that Xbox isn't going away. If you want to play on PC, good. If you are going to tell me straight-faced that you're going to sell your Xbox Series X or S and play on PlayStation because you only need one console, you either a fraud or just don't understand economics, because that means that you're buying the games at $76.43. That to me doesn't make any goddamn sense at all. Sorry, can't help you there, pal. But look, King, look, we've been at this for 40 minutes. This is supposed to be about 45. I got to get to the super chats, but I do want to get your hot take in closing of what happens now, because again, February was a very unfortunately rocky month for Xbox because of all the rumors that were coming out, and of course, well, the games did go over. 4 games went over. One is doing phenomenal. It's going to be in the top 10 most selling games on PlayStation 4 and 5. That's Sea of Thieves. Again, thank you, PlayStation players, for funding.
They launched Grounded over there, right?
They did, yeah, and it's doing well.
It's doing well too. Yeah,
yes, it is. So, congratulations, PlayStation players. You're helping. Here's the thing. Xbox isn't going anywhere. If you want to go somewhere, I understand. But I just think that you're doing yourself a financial disservice if you're going to tell me with a straight face that you're going to sell your Xbox and go play on PlayStation and buy the games at full boat. To me, it doesn't make any sense. King, let's get your closing thoughts on what happens now, because we're still in August, right? Yeah. We still have September. We still got the last 4 months of the year. Xbox has a lot of games coming out. Indiana Jones being one of those. Again, I don't make excuses for Xbox stupidity. This was dumb. This was a straight up dumb move. I don't like it. The messaging has once again gummed up the positivity and the advancement that the brand was making. And I hate when they do that. That's the rake stepping moment that just drives me crazy. I'm not leaving Xbox, folks. I'm sorry. I'm a pensioner. I live off a pension that I earned. And you know what? Xbox allows me to go out and spend extra money other places. Like where? Oh, I don't know. PlayStation. When I bought because I'm a big old nerd, I bought Astrobot and the special edition controller. Now, if I have to buy all my Xbox games, I'm not doing that. But I can do that. Why do you think I buy every Switch game that releases? I got over 100 Switch physical copies. Xbox Game Pass allows me to do that. But King, let's get your closing thoughts.
Well, for the Xbox fanboy, right? For the fanboy, what you're gonna have to start learning is how to read a financial spreadsheet, because your arguments will have to be a little bit more in depth in how you combat the nonsensical, childish stuff that's about to come your way. For the Xbox consumer, know that Game Pass is the platform, and I told y'all when it happened, that was exactly the vehicle in which they were going to infest and move across the gaming sphere. Know that you'll be well taken care of with first-party titles. Now, for the standard dudes, I suggest you upgrade to Ultimate. All right, that standard ain't gonna cut it, and the majority of you guys is on Ultimate anyway. But get used to. And this is going to be par for the course, and this is going to be the norm now. This is the new norm. Every time a show is announced, there's going to be the next, it's going to be 4 more coming now. I wonder what they're going to announce for PlayStation next. Hey, I wonder what PlayStation is going to get. That is going to be the new norm. Get used to it. As a business person, invest heavily right now in Microsoft. Now, I'm going to talk some AI stuff later. And I'm going to talk about the downfall or the possible pitfalls in which, let me see, elevation can happen in our gaming division that can turn this conversation on the drop of a hat. It can change overnight like that. And when I'm telling you from experience, and I'm also telling you from a lot of stuff that I'm looking at and the research that I'm doing, and then the little work that I sit there, because I'm as Boom is meticulous with the stuff that he does, I think I miss my calling as a detective. And I kind of pared something down that gives you one shot at reversing the majority of this and changing this to fit how we gamers feel it's supposed to be, to make it all right in that space. And if I'm right, and it does happen, because there is a high chance that that's a possibility, and it can happen very quickly, because not too long ago, Microsoft Xbox only had 3 studios that they could depend on.
Yep.
And now they have over 31. I told Boom before they was going to have 36 studios, and they do have 4 Shadow Studios and 31 main. That happened like that. And those things change at the drop of a hat. This is corporate business. There's a lot of moving and shaking happening, and at the drop of a dime, don't ever give up unless there's absolutely no way. There is a 10% chance of what I'm talking about happening. And the last time I told you dudes to hold the line and stay focused, ABK happened. It did change us completely, but there was a 10% chance there. There's a 10% chance now that this same thing can happen, what I'm talking about, and I'll explain, that will change everything on the drop of a dime. And certain things can happen that will make everything right for us. But other than that, it's been very enlightening seeing all that stuff that plays out in the background that I knew about, that I heard about, play out in front of us. And I've never seen a level of petty from the inside show out on the company on the floor, to spill out on the floor. And it reminds me, it gives me feelings of the Jets. It gives me feelings of the Knicks. Poorly run companies from the top down. Woody Johnson couldn't run a Frank stand, right? And what is that? Jim, whoever that runs the Knicks, his papa gave him the place and has been down since. Certain people are not fit to lead because certain people aren't leaders. They can run some stuff, but they aren't leaders. And you have natural born leaders that are fit to lead. You would never catch Phil throwing any one of his team under the bus. He'll take the bullet first.
Yep.
That's a leader. And I didn't see a leader let his guy go out there and lead. I saw somebody snipe him from behind, and it's always from within. Phil went out, eliminated Reggie Fils-Aimé, Sean Layden, and Jim Ryan. Left alone, without all his BS, he would eliminate Helman Holtz, Hiroki Totoki, and anybody else you put in his way. This was done on purpose. That's it.
Yeah, it's disappointing. And of course, we're talking about Satya Nadella. There's, it just was ugly. And King's not wrong. Again, read the room, folks. Read the room. But before we get on out of here, and I can tell you where you can go and see Xbox Frontline News with King David. You can definitely go check out the one he dropped today. People are talking about it in the chat. Said one of the, if I may quote, brilliant. Absolutely. In fact, that's so much so I watched it twice. So Lieutenant Hulk drops a very generous $2 super chat and goes, Xbox just dropped the Phil Spencer interview. Yeah, I've already seen it. I'm going to probably, we're going to probably use it as a talking point tonight. Again, primetime gaming tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hargeet Chani, myself, a whole bunch. I believe we're going to have Pixelbit G. I believe we're going to have J-Rock. I believe we're going to have a bunch of folks joining us. Even Everborn Saga is going to make an appearance because he is so vexed with some of the things that went on. So again, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, big panel. It's going to be the one topic we're talking about because it is worthy of a conversation. You've already heard my piece, so I'm basically going to just let the guys go and do their thing. But thank you, Lieutenant Hulk. J-Mac, the fellow graybeard, like King and I, he drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, when has Microsoft/Xbox ever cared about who they sell their software to? If you can answer that question, then yesterday's event shouldn't bother you. Hashtag Xbox World Order. I mean, brother, they sell their software to everyone. Again, it's just the announcement of it going to PS5 isn't the issue. That's fine. In February, like I said, if I was running Xbox, it'd be a different story. I'm not, right? But this is also not the early 2000s. This is 2024. Things are different. I don't like it, but I have to accept it. And I just think that the messaging, it didn't need to happen like King said. It just did not need the spotlight. The spotlight is supposed to be on Xbox and PC and its gamers like me, like King, like you, who were waiting forever for this release date for Indiana Jones. It should have been celebrated by Xbox players. And it was, again, take it for what it's worth. I just don't think it needed to be said then and there. I'll leave it at that. Our good friend that we're in a DM with, King, Eli Shlomovich, drops a very generous $5 super chat. And Eli says, glad to hear the thoughts of my two favorite creators on this issue. Brother, thank you so much for the kind words. And of course, thank you for the generosity. Simon Brandy, who's been very pointed with his opinion. Simon, welcome back, brother. He drops a very generous £5 super chat. And he says, King's video earlier was superb. Satya said, let us compete. They buy ABK and don't. Sony will never put a game on Xbox. The lack of fight is pathetic.
Yep.
We'll see. I think differently, but we'll see. You're onto something, Simon. WW Snipes has gifted one double barrel gaming membership. Snipes, bro, that's very kind of you. Thank you for supporting the channel. We super appreciate it here. Our good friend Smokey, who's been a channel member for 41 months. Dude, thank you so much for the support. He says, step one, piss off your fan base again. Step 2, announce new Xbox hardware is up for pre-order. It's just crazy. And yeah, it is. And you know what? Here's the thing. I'm buying the Series X 2 terabyte. I'm trading in my old X. And I'm just going to pay off the balance because now I have a 2 terabyte card. I can pop that 2 terabyte card into the 2 terabyte system. And now I'm golden with memory. I'm always fighting for memory. It's crazy. I buy a lot of games. Let's see. Simon Brandy drops an additional very generous £2 super chat and says Sony blocked the ABK deal, yet Sony tried to block the deal. Yet they support PS5. Yeah, it's just a money play. Again, it's just money, man. And sometimes, anything with money is just gross. Iron Templar drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, why do you assume Phil is a victim in all of this when he himself said exclusives don't matter? They don't sell hardware. Stop defending Phil.
I can answer that for you.
Please go right ahead.
All right. So what you did was you just pulled it out of context. Exclusives on their own don't matter. And then metrics will show you that exclusive doesn't sell consoles. All right. So if you actually did the metrics, if you actually see what's the top selling video games, it's on all platforms. It's Fortnite, Call of Duty. It's all multiplayer games. Yep. You're lucky if you can get your first party title in the top 5, top 10 if you're happy. Right. So exclusives doesn't sell consoles. What data has shown, your friends dictate where you play. That sells consoles. All right. So your social awareness in the marketplace actually sells consoles, and exclusives is very last on the list. You're looking at it through the lens of a hardcore player. You got to stop looking at it through that lens because you do not make up the majority of sales. Actually, hardcore players are very low on the totem pole. We get the word out. We push the narrative, but we do not push consoles. Hardcore players, and you have some ignorant hardcore players that will purchase one console only and sit there, where you have a lot of casuals that will go and get multiple consoles for other reasons. You have to really stop looking at at life at the prism of self. There is way more diversity in the way things are being put. If it was the case, then nobody would support third party. Everybody would just be worrying about first party, and that would not be an issue. It's a reason why third parties are so valuable. And the Switch is an outlier in this whole case. But if you notice, the Switch 2 is stocking up on third-party support before it's even out. And that's from PlayStation, Xbox, and others. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let me add some context because obviously we are all about evidence-based conversation, King and I, right? Well, Matt Piscatella, Mr. Numbers himself, love Matt. FYI, sir, and PlayStation community. You want to know your top 10 for best-selling games in July of 2024? Well, you know what? Surprisingly enough, I have that information in front of me, and let me give it to you. Oh, FYI, here's a bit of a subtext. You know what's not on there? Anything first-party from PlayStation. FYI. Number 1, Fortnite. Number 2, Call of Duty. Number 3, Grand Theft Auto 5 Remastered. Number 4, The First Descendant. Number 5, Roblox. Number 6, NBA 2K24. Number 7, EA Sports College Football 25. Number 8 was 8 was Minecraft. Number 9, Madden NFL 24 EA Sports, and at number 10, Elden Ring. So Fortnite, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5, First Descendant, Roblox, NBA 2K, EA Sports College Football 25, Minecraft, Madden 24, and Elden Ring are your top 10 selling games for last month on PlayStation. No first-party games there. I guess people aren't buying PlayStations for first party. Pretty much that's the case. But King, let me continue, and we'll get you on out of here, brother. We also have here JJ. Let's see. Okay, so Simon Brandy drops an additional $5 super chat. It's like £5 super chat. And Simon goes and says, Boom ain't lying. I read a preview of Indie from a site that hates Xbox. They said it looked great. Why isn't it at least a 1-year exclusive? Pathetic. I mean, it could be a Disney play. I think that, and we're gonna get into it tonight. I know Hargeet's gonna have a lot to say on it. I believe Hargeet thinks the same way, that it's an FTC play.
Yeah.
More than anything. To be honest with you, listen, they won, but the FTC is still a thorn in their side. They got to get them. They got to get them off their backs. This is how they do it. And Starfield's probably going to go next year as well. FYI, that's happening. JJ saying 117 drops a very generous $5 super chat. And he says, "Hi, Boom. Kudos to you. Everyone needs to understand the industry is changing. They don't think of us old people anymore. Sony will follow like before. They absolutely will. We're the old dogs, the old guard, if you will." Hargi Chani, hey, welcome back. I was just actually talking about you, sir. He says, "We'll get into this onto PGT tonight, but I see no reason for a pointless 3-month exclusivity of indie. If it's a multi-plat, just release it day and date everywhere." I mean, that again, it is what it is. Chris R drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Do you think that the Disney licensing fee was the biggest factor into adding indie to PlayStation 5? Spider-Man 2 was rumored to have a massive licensing fee." Yeah, it went up to 35% from 25%. So I'm sure that has a lot to do with it, King. I think
it was partial, but I also think that the biggest metrics was the money that they're making from Grounded and Sea of Thieves. I'm sorry. I just think that was an indicator of, okay, we're gonna make our bread.
Yeah, I'm 100%. Big Pile of Puke says, "You always say ponies have to pay $70 like it's a bad negative thing. There are millions of gamers who enjoy owning their games and supporting devs. We're supporting devs.
They
Game
don't own
Pass.
anything.
Yeah, you actually technically don't. You're right. If you really want to get technical,
Yeah,
you can own the disc.
Yeah,
And have it as a coaster.
That's all that is.
For your drink.
Let me explain something to you, and we got to get past that stupid thought process of that you are going out and buying physical. Well, first of all, physical is actually gone. There's really nothing on that disc, right? It's a data point entry of a licensing that you've paid for. You have paid for the opportunity to use that game. When they decide to remove your licensing privileges, that's when the licensing agreement. If you ever take time out instead of just clicking agree, right? And we already know how bad that went for the person that lost their life with the Disney stuff. But these licensing agreements have egregious things inside of it. You do not own that game. They're giving you the opportunity to use the license. This is not the last generation or the generation before that, which is the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, where you actually own those games. You don't own anything. That's an illusion, and you're falling for the illusion.
Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, as they say. Sith Lord drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Boom King, thanks for seeing the bigger picture. Brother, thank you for being a part of today's show, and thank you for the generosity, as always, Sith Lord." And lastly, Will Broke Boy Lewis, generous friend of the program. And this is, again, we're going to talk about this on Thursday's show. C Money and I have very, very similar opinions about this particular aspect of it. And it just goes to show you that you can be... Look, I like Jeff, but he does put himself, and he paints himself as the kid with the magnifying glass burning ants. He showed that off last night. He just did. I'm sorry. And we're going to get into that. Will says, "Did you see Jeff Keighley's face light up when he said Indy was going to PlayStation? You can tell the whole night he was dreading saying the name Xbox." Clear as day. Clear as day. We will bring it up tomorrow in actual detailed points. But ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you from King and I for hanging out here. King, let's sell the brand. Obviously, lordsofgaming.net. We don't need to sell it. The Iron Lords podcast, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys are closing in on 22,000 subscribers. We don't need to sell it. Everyone knows those two. But you know what I want to sell? I'm going to sell your brand, because your brand is closing in on 9K. And we want to see the King get to 10K and 20 and 30 and even 50. And of course, that is Xbox Frontline News, where he tells you how you mustard hearts can hold the line. By all means, brother, sell it, sell it, sell it.
Well, As soon as we get to 10K, I have a statue that I'm giving away. It's a 1/4 honeypot statue made by Gentle Giants. She's called Whisper. It is a very nice statue, and when I'm talking about, she has assets. So if you like Stellar Blade, you will love this statue, and it'll be an eye candy piece for you to have on your dresser or inside your work area or your desk or something like that. It's a very large statue. So that is something I look forward to shipping and sending to people. Fridays we do a live show. I do a live show with my son, the Prince, and we do fighting. It's called Fight Night Fridays, Xbox Frontline Fight Night Edition, and where the community comes out and we have a good time. That means we play video games, we play fighting games, we play community games. It's a whole jamboree of everybody having fun. If you have cross pay, you're there. PC, PlayStation, Xbox, we all play together. You jump in Discord and we'll have conversation. But every day I drop a video. Now the times vary. Yep. Every day, 6 days a week, so you guys can have something to talk about. I go through the industry, and a lot of times I find nice indie games or games that remind me of the joy that games bring. There's too much doom and gloom. There's too much hate of games going on. I try to bring back that fun, that excitement, and what's new, what's going on in the industry, and my little spin on it. So if I yell out hashtag no PlayStation 6, it's because I can see where stuff is going. And by the time 28 comes, are there any consoles? I don't know. But if there's no consoles in 28, hashtag no PlayStation 6. Just saying.
Well, King, brother, I appreciate you being here, folks. We almost an hour on the dot. Thank you so much for checking out the special edition, episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the like button before you get out of here, or hit the thumbs down button. Obviously, there's going to be some people that didn't like the commentary, and that's perfectly fine. Engagement, I guess, is engagement, but we would like you to hit the like button because we work hard for this, and we put out good content. It's honest, it's fair. And I think that we knocked it out of the park. And I think a big thank you to nearly 1,000 people here watching live across X and, of course, YouTube. So a big thank you to that. And, of course, big thank you to all of the super chats and the new channel memberships that continue to come in that support Mrs. Boom and I and the Double Barrel Gaming banner, where we are able to give these big giveaways. We're able to have them thanks to your generosity. And, of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast.